And then in regards to your comments on Isco, I think I kind of I didn't see as much talk about Isco, and I really didn't have as many notes on Isco. I thought he played well, but then when I went back and looked at the stats after the game, he had 5 key passes and 3 completed dribbles. I was like, what? I don't remember Isco being that involved. I thought he was good. I thought, like I said, I liked the interchange. I liked just everything he brought, but I didn't think he was for instance, as impactful as Asensio.
It was a quiet 5 key pass performance because 4 out of those 5 key passes 3 of them came from corners, and a 4th one came from a set piece,
okay.
and then the 5th one was from open play where he laid it off to Lucas Vazquez from outside the box. So it wasn't that.
Makes sense.
Now I'm not going to take it away from him because I always defend Cruz when people say, "Well, Cruz gets a bunch of key passes because he takes set pieces." I think there's an art to deliver good set pieces, so he deserves credit for that. But I think that's part of the reason why it was a quiet 5 key pass performance. But I wasn't, I thought probably out of the attacking, kind of attacking minded players, Isco was the one that struggled the most. He was a little bit weak on the ball. A couple of times where he got the ball in deep positions, he struggled with Eibar's pressure. Modric in comparison, who kind of just glided out of those situations and played vertical passes, which was much more influential. So it wasn't one of Isco's best performances, but it was fine too. He's another name. I can't even begin to start predicting what Zidane's going to do. That was one of the things that induced at least a little bit of anxiety in me, Matt, was that so many people on social media or on Patreon or just asking us on the podcast, what are his rotations going to be like? And I can talk about it a little bit. I can just throw some darts at the wall blindfolded, but it's such a hard question to answer. To me, I was curious to know what happens in this game because I think this would give us a little bit of premonition, who rests. And I started to think about fringe players like Militao, and Isco is kind of in and out of the team, so he's included. You just knew he was going to get some minutes there. Marcelo was somebody I definitely thought of. I mean, if you're going to play him at all, it's probably either this game. I mean, it's probably this game, but he may make a cameo too in the other 3 games, depending on what Real Madrid's situation is. I mean, the 3-5-2 masked Marcelo's defense in a lot of ways, which I think we can get to. I'm surprised, Matt, that we saw the 3-5-2 because when Ramos got injured, I honestly thought that the 3-5-2 was a big possibility. I mean, even with Ramos there, but actually, to be honest, when he got injured, a lot of people said, "Well, does this mean we can't play 3-5-2 anymore?" I actually think the 3-5-2 is a way to also mask Ramos's absence because you get more coverage, and Mendy can play that role pretty well. I think you probably slide in Varane over Militao, whose passing still does worry me a little bit against Liverpool's press. I thought he was okay today, but there were definitely moments that he was uncomfortable, and so I think you can kind of go 3 at the back without Ramos, and I think you can get solid defensive coverage. I guess with Eibar, it's a little bit easier because you take Brian Gil out of the game, you basically have done 90% of the stuff you need to do against Eibar. I'm a little bit surprised he was taken off at halftime. I didn't think he was disastrous. I still think you want to have him on the field if you're trying to make a comeback against Real Madrid. But Vazquez tracked him well. He also did well the other way against him, and he was out of the game. So against Liverpool, obviously, it will be a little bit different. But I think it gives you good coverage. So what do you think the 3-5-2 gives you? Do you think that we can continue this beyond Eibar into these 3 games?
I think that the Ramos injury actually does force Zidane's hand a little bit. I think he is opting for this formation because of the Ramos injury rather than if everyone was fit. I think he would go with his traditional 4-3-3. But there's a good article out by John Mueller, and he talks about the elbow fullback. And Zidane likes to use Nacho in this role, this elbow fullback role, where it's basically the Mario Hermoso role, where you play a hybrid left back, center back role. And so when we have the ball, Nacho shifts pretty much all the way over to a left back role and distributes out fairly well from there. And so it's either Mendy or Marcelo. I mean, Mendy was pretty much playing that role today, but Mendy or Marcelo are usually the ones in the left wide back position that he can feed, or Kroos or Modric. And so I think that's why Zidane likes it, because it just gets the best out of his replacement players. It gets the best out of Nacho. It gets the best out of Mendy, Marcelo, Lucas Vazquez. So I think that's why it works. I mean, with both, if Carvajal and Ramos were in the team, then I think it's simple. I think he's going to do 4-3-3 with Kroos, Casemiro, Modric in the middle, and the team picks itself. But with those two key players in the defense out, I think you need that extra solidity. I think you need, and not only is it extra solidity, but I think it helps with the build-up play, and it helps us move out of the back. So I think Zidane likes this formation. I honestly, Kiyan, I wouldn't be surprised if this is what we roll out against Liverpool. Zidane used it against Atalanta. He's used it a couple times now, and normally I feel like these games before the Champions League game are typically a test of what you're going to do against the big boys.